Let's get started by going to the Pulumi portal and heading to the Stacks section and clicking Create Project. If you followed our previous video, you should have your defaults set, otherwise pick them and then click Next. Now we'll need to create the new project. Pick the owner organization and then give it a project name. Let's go with Tutorial 1. You can give it a description and then specify a stack name. A stack is like an environment. Let's change the location to East US 2 and then click to create the project. Now we see a list of commands that we can use to start running our stack. We start out by making an empty directory that matches the project name. We change into that and then we run Pulumi new with Azure Typescript and the stack name specified. We set the location to East US 2 and then it installs our dependencies for us. The types of files generated depend on your language. For instance, this is Typescript and the index.ts is the entry point. And you can see here that we have some default resources, a resource group and a storage account. Let's run Pulumi up. This will read our Pulumi program and determine what needs to happen. It sees it wants to create these resources. Let's press yes to continue. From looking at the Pulumi portal, we can see in real time what's happening the same as we could on the CLI. We can also see the preview output. There's even a tab for easily viewing your resources. It has links to jump into Azure portal, and if we click on it and check it out, we can see that our storage account is done creating and we're ready to move on. Now let's take a little closer look at what's going on. We can see that we have our resource group and storage account, and every time that we say we need a new thing, it gets created. Every resource has a name, arguments, and options that control how it works. Let's do something to make our lives a little easier now. Let's find the resource group name and save it as a new stack output. We can do this by creating a new exported variable and then setting it to the value of resourcegroup.name. By default, Pulumi doesn't care. It'll automatically name your resources, and actually this can be a good practice. But if you want, you can statically name things and give it a name like so. Just pop into the arguments for a given resource and I'm sure you can find a name type property. Let's call this myrg East US 1. Run Pulumi up and select the stack to get started. Now when we run our changes, something new will happen. We'll see that it wants to replace both of our resources because the resource group name changed. The storage account is dependent on the resource group, so that makes sense. We can arrow down and press details if we ever need to see more information about why a change is happening. Go ahead and press yes to continue with the changes. Pulumi by default will always want to create new resources before destroying the old ones. So you can see here it's starting to create the replacement, and then it deletes the original one. It'll also tell you some of the information about the diff again, just in case you forgot. You'll also notice that the storage key is now showing as an output string. That's because Pulumi doesn't know what it is yet and still needs to figure it out. Now let's see how easy it is to get up and running with another environment. To do this, we'll just need to run Pulumi stack init. This will create a new stack and we just need to give it a name. Let's call it test. Another great feature about Pulumi is its built-in configuration system. We can run Pulumi config set with a key pair value and specify a stack name to place new configurations. Let's go ahead and copy our old ones into the new configuration file and make sure that we have a new resource group name. Now we just need to use the config value in our program. To do this, we can create a new Pulumi config class, and we can use this to pull in the values from a specific namespace in our config files. Let's go ahead and pull in the tutorial 1 namespace, and then we're going to require the value for our resource group name config. Requiring it will make sure that an error gets thrown if it's not set. Let's take another step and make our program a little more secure by using another helper called Pulumi secret. This will help to mask secret output in the CLI and logs. And even though they're hidden, you can still get to them if you need to. Now let's go ahead and run Pulumi up again. This time though, let's add the skip preview option, and let's also specify to run it against the test stack. It doesn't exist, but let's hit enter to continue. This will create our stack and go ahead and create all the resources without needing confirmation. With the updates finished, we can now see that our primary storage keys are masked in the CLI output. With our test environment ready to go, we no longer need our dev environment. Let's run Pulumi destroy against our dev stack to get rid of it. Pulumi will first ask us if we're sure we want to delete everything, and then we can click yes, and everything goes bye-bye. And now we're at the end of our video. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to like and subscribe.